My mom used to say, your bicycle will never put food in your mouth or a roof over my head. So now I love belanja. Taking them out, belanja them to lunch and dinner and reminding them, hey, let's thank the bicycle for this food on our table. I am Josiah Ng, three-time Olympian from Malaysia. I'm a former cyclist, I'm a coach. I love to always have fun. I'm open to a lot of things, to try new things. You know, when people ask me where I'm from when I'm on holiday, I have to pause and I'm thinking, do I want to spend the time to explain to them? I'm Malaysian, raised in America, Chinese background. For people that don't know I'm Malaysian, I'm American, right? I'm here in Malaysia, everyone thinks I'm an expat. In America, they know I'm not pure American because I live in Australia. I have a little bit Aussie twang sometimes, or other than growing up there, I have nothing to do with America, right? So wherever I go, I feel out of place. Even in my own national team, all of my teammates were Malay, speaking Terengganu, or most of them. So I'm kind of like a rojak, right? I represented Malaysia on a global stage, and tak boleh cakap bahasa Melayu, right? But it's all right. I am who I am. I'm an individual. It's a normal feeling for me to be out of place, and I'm okay with that. It pushes me to further myself, to have different perspective. If I'm on my tippy toes all the time, I don't take things for granted, and yeah, it's not such a bad thing, right? Keirin is a discipline invented by the Japanese. It's very similar to horse racing. It's one of the 3 largest betting sports in Japan, basically to raise money for local municipalities to rebuild their communities after World War II. It's generally known for being the most popular spectator sport, just because the speed's the highest out of all of the disciplines, and there's most chance of a crash happening. I like it, and I was specialist because you don't have to be the fastest competitor to win. Usually, if you run a race 10 out of 10 in other events, it's the strongest guy or strongest woman who wins. In the Keirin, oftentimes the strongest guy get last place. So it's usually a combination of strength, tactics, and a little bit of luck. I grew up in a very musical environment, playing music all day, and I wanted to get away from that because that was too much practicing of my violin. I guess cycling was my exit. I got grounded, they threw my bike out and eventually tossed me out on my 18th birthday. And it didn't really occur to them the magnitude of what I was doing or what I had achieved until after the Olympic game. I managed to, after a few coaches saying you have no chance, one coach was convinced that I had a chance. He was the coach that took me to my first Olympic Games. But back then, no one thought, other than myself and him, thought I could have had any chance of going to Olympic Games, let alone being a major contender. In sport, things can change very fast. Since so much is dependent on your physicality, sometimes it's out of your hands. You can come from this perspective that, wow, that's kind of cool, you can restart. On the other hand, it's the hardest stage in our life because we are one of the best at what we do. Everyone puts us on a pedestal, and overnight, we're nothing. Normally, no uni degree, no work experience, and you're in your mid-30s, and usually you haven't saved enough or you haven't made enough to carry you through the rest of your life. I did everything. All of a sudden, I just didn't have any confidence anymore. I didn't have any earning capacity. Then from then, I had to start thinking, okay, what next? I still remember that moment like it was yesterday. Well, I qualified for the final at my first Olympic Games, and I represented our nation. I sang Negaraku, and it's funny, I grew up in America, so I didn't know Negaraku. But in the months leading up to that, I would play it every day and I would sing at the top of my voice, and all my teammates, Azizo and Noah, were laughing at me. We've had the most success as a country in the Keirin. We've had about 5 or 6 riders that are world class that won Asian championships, World Cup medals. So it's huge in a way that if you're of the same background as someone and they've gone to the top or they've done it, it gives you that belief. It's like the belief thing. They did it, and they from the kampong. He's not like some big matsale guy. He's just small, short like me. Maybe I can do it. So that puts that in our youth today. It's like, well, if he can do it, why can't I? That's a huge thing. Because what's our limitation as human race? Our dream. This is a limiter. If we can't dream it, we'll never do it. You'll never attempt, and you have 0 chance of success. As a culture, we don't have that racing culture, and I'm hoping there'll be races everywhere, competitions. What's happening here is that there are a lot of cycling events. People go and participate. Everyone has a medal at the finish line. But what I would like to see is a more competitive spirit. Instead of being rewarded for being a participant, they get rewarded for excellence.